Should we do Toronto? Let's do Toronto first.
Yeah, we are recording this. It is Monday night, about 5 o'clock. It's hot as hell. Game 7's about to start, so we'll give our picks this week on. We'll put our
on the
most of our
social
picks
media. Not that you guys are paying attention because we all suck. Ryan is winning, and we all suck at it.
I'm having a good time making picks.
He's having a good time making picks. All right, Ryan. So Toronto won Florida. They got Florida. They lose in 5 games. Or 5, right?
It was a 5-er.
Losing
Game
5
5
games.
overtime.
They got Bobrovski'd.
Maybe. No, I wouldn't say so.
Well, I mean, he was pretty damn good.
That whole team though, like they're just set up. They're structurally sound. They're terrifying. Radko Gudas is screaming in people's faces.
That was fucking terrifying. I don't want to be Joseph Wool being like going to the psychiatrist and be like, I had a Czech Republic man or Czechia man scream in my face after he screamed me and destroyed my life. Man, I think just in terms of Toronto, man, I don't know how badly they want it, and by them I mean like you want to bring up the core 4, like, okay, Austin Matthews vanished off the face of the earth, but within every goddamn intermission, all I see is, here's Austin Matthews in a gambling ad. Here's Austin Matthews in a credit card ad. I'm like, is Austin Matthews more interested in being Austin Matthews than playing hockey?
Kind of looks that way when you see his responses.
And then I see
games.
And then I see Mitch Marner on his Skip the Dishes ad. And then I see Willie Stiles in another ad. I'm like, oh, okay. You guys are about to get bounced to 5, and you know it's all this extracurricular stuff. It's like very Mighty Ducks 2 with Coach Bombay.
Yeah,
you know, it's like, what are you doing, man? Come on, you're out here getting ice cream with the chick from Team Iceland. What are you doing? Ryan, where do they go? Like I think this experiment has failed. I think from both Toronto and Edmonton.
Yeah.
And we're seeing teams like Florida. We're seeing teams like Seattle, where you're seeing a tremendous amount of depth in your bottom 6 to be more successful. Even Vegas, like throughout your lineup. We're seeing that maybe the superstar thing doesn't work. Like it worked in the Crosby era. It worked in the Kane and Taves era. Even worked maybe, I don't know if you can stretch it to what? You can stretch it to Kopitar, Carter, Richards in LA.
It's a committee. It's a team game, and it's becoming so prevalent now. And even when Nate McKinnon won that Stanley, when they won their cup last year, he was still on his I haven't won shit contract, and then his I won shit contract kicked in, and now everything about how you build a winner changes. And when you think about how much money is invested into that big 4 in Toronto, and you know everybody's listened to this conversation since Friday night, like. When you have $40-ish million invested in these 4 guys and they don't show up in the playoffs, and the only time you see them do something on your screen, like you just said, is when they're selling Sonnet insurance or getting you to be addicted to gambling, you start to question. And where they go from here, as you just asked off the top, is you have a reasonably smart young whippersnapper in Kyle Dubas that, you know, identifies the value of a player and what they're worth when and how much. And you've got contracts coming into their final year, and you got to ask yourself, what am I going to get out of this for how long? And then you just have to ask yourself, like, well, yeah, they're all very productive, but this core of players and the way this team works can't do it in the playoffs. So I think, you know, it starts at the top, and they'll find out pretty quickly if Dubas wants to re-sign, and then it's a trickle down. But
I got a mad thing for you though.
Yeah.
So Austin Matthews in his last season, when I think it rolls into July 1, his last contracted season coming up. He has a no movement clause that kicks in.
Yeah. It's very spicy.
So you're at a position now where as soon as that no movement clause kicks in, you don't have any control.
Mm-hmm.
You've given it up. So if Austin comes and says, you know what, you're gonna test free agency, you can't do anything. He says, nah, I don't want. He's like, nah, I like being in the 6 too much. I like the Octobers. I'm just gonna spend the time here, and then he rolls into whatever, and then you ask him, hey, can you please waive? I don't know.
Have you looked into it? Is it a full no
It's
move?
Full
like
no moving clause. Full no move.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so they have to do two things. One, see if Austin's going to resign, and even if he says, "Yeah, I'm into resigning," is that good enough? Is that it? I don't think it is. I think you can't go this Leafs franchise with how many picks they've hemorrhaged, with how many futures they've sent away. They I understand the Rasmus Sandin trade and they get Boston's first from Washington back, but there's a weird thing in my head where I'm like, they're gonna have to move that Boston pick to move Matt Murray. All right, they need cap space.
Well, and also if you move Matt Murray, and that let's say you move that, you retain some, that basically just pays for Austin Matthews his pay raise with his extension.
Well, yeah, so
and it's the same old.
Well, kind of. So it's just the idea that okay, so now you're moving these futures, and now Austin. I think Austin Matthews, he has to sign. He has to get they have to get like a handshake agreement that you're re-signing your long term in Toronto, because if you get into a situation where you're negotiating the contract into November, December, you cannot allow Austin Matthews to just walk. There's just no way. There's absolutely you just let him walk. He has a no move. He says, yeah, don't worry about it. I want to test for agents. And he walks, and he becomes a UFA at what, 26, 27?
And
then
he's
you
a
have
superstar.
And you have nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
You can't. So what I'm trying to say is this offseason, or this specific time frame, super interesting what's going to happen. Because I don't think I'll listen to your offers is good enough. It's just not good enough.
Let me ask you this point blank. Out of the four, who do you move?
Out of Tavares, Matthews, Nylander, Marner? Man, that is a really hard choice. I don't think you move Tavares because he has 2 years left, and I don't think anyone's going to trade for that It's probably Nylander, which is really funny because Nylander's the one that actually showed up and performed. Austin has the center position, but you might just be forced. I don't think it's a question of who do you move. I think you're going to be forced. They're going to be forced to move one of those contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't, like, this experiment, that's great that you did the core for, and Kyle Dubas in some instances seemed to make these deals that were so Tampa oriented. Like, Ryan, it was so Tampa oriented where they beat Tampa, and then it was like oh shit, okay, I forgot about the sign we have behind us. It was like that one game after those series of games in that 1 year in the city of Vancouver.
13 days since we've mentioned that thing.
13 days. We're doing so good. But yeah, anyways, that's my perspective. So you look at Joseph Woll, and he seems to have that 1A, 1B kind of pedigree in him. I thought he was fairly good. Do they re-sign Ilya Samsonov? I don't know. Do you just go get another guy and then do you move Matt Murray? Because I think Matt Murray kind of proved to you that he's okay. He's an okay goalie, but he's just not reliable enough physically. He keeps breaking down. So, it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks for Toronto I can't imagine, like, maybe, them getting out of the first round and then coming into this juggernaut that this like motivated juggernaut that they didn't expect to hit, and they hit the iceberg. And we're seeing with the exit interviews, everyone's saying, we want to be back, we want to do this, we want to do that.
Can you imagine if those 4 players are still here? Keefe is still the coach, Dubas is still the GM, but it's like, hang on, everybody. We got our own. We got Garnet Hathaway coming in to take care of business, or you've got somebody just the latest round, your latest version of your Wayne Simmons,
Yeah.
your Ryan O'Reilly, or your Nick Foligno, or just like
I'm just trying.
We've seen
I'm
this.
just trying to think like, if they were to run it back and say, you know what, we're gonna give this one more go. Not only am I trying to think of the moves they can make, which I don't think are very many. The second thing is, how many teams in the East are going to progressively get better? Like, look around. So Florida came out of nowhere and smashed them over the head with a steel chair.
yeah.
I think Ottawa, once they figure out their goaltending, if it's Matt
yeah.
Sergaard or whatever, like Ottawa's on the rise. Montreal's gonna
Stockpile.
and Ken Hughes has got some stuff cooking as soon as he can get some defensemen that aren't just Mike Matheson. I'm trying to think who else is in that in the Atlantic. I'm trying to think.
There's a murderer's row. Buffalo's in there.
Yeah, Buffalo's one goalie away. Like, I have a question for you. What if Buffalo goes out and gets Connor Hellebuyck?
They don't. They have Devin Levi.
Yeah, they have Devin Levi, but let's just say, like, they go out and they get a legit 1A goalie.
And you want to know why they can do that? Because they don't have $40 million tied up in 4 people that they've got to move some of them.
I'm still so convinced. I think people are there's so much PTSD going around the fact that, like, there's no money and that's the COVID cap and the cap's only going up $4. I don't think you can stop general managers in this league, and specifically, and well, not specifically, but like any sports, like, from like being like, okay, we're gonna be responsible. We're gonna get one ringer burger and cut it up into 4 and just feed the entire family. No, you can't stop. Like, yeah, they might be able to withhold themselves, but then, it's like the Canucks. Like, we had the Horvat trade, right? And that was nice. And then a large string of quiet. And then that one fateful day where it's like, yeah, Philip Hronek. And we're like, what? What? They can't help themselves, so they're just gonna.
I only smoke when I'm drinking. Oh! Let's get Philip Hronek in here.
No, he's like, I only smoke when I'm drinking. Listen, I had a long week. Okay, a lot of stuff happened. All right, I'm also allowed this one. It's amazing how we rationalize it.